The sole characteristics of people whose intuition begins to strike true, sharply, from their 40s. Tesla speaks on the turning point of the soul, where experience and sensitivity intersect. If, lately, your fleeting hunches have somehow been proving right, one after another, this is not coincidence. I want to declare this clearly. It is the unmistakable proof that your soul has entered a special stage. Without any reason you felt, I should not get too deeply involved with this person. And later, you came to know that the feeling had been correct. Without any reason you thought, today, I should not take that road. And in fact, that turned out to be the best choice. Before you have even begun to think, the answer quietly rises in your heart. And that answer is astonishingly accurate. If, since entering your 40s, these experiences have been increasing, it is not the effect of aging, nor is it your imagination. It is that your soul, after a long period of preparation, has at last begun to fully activate the oldest and the most accurate navigational ability of all. The ability called intuition. Consider this. What exactly is intuition? Many people think of intuition as something like a baseless guess. But this is a complete misunderstanding. Intuition is an extremely advanced result of information processing, one that is born only at the single point where the enormous experience you have accumulated through your life and the delicate sensitivity carried by your soul intersect. And the age at which experience and sensitivity begin to intersect most richly is the 40s. In your 20s and 30s, you accumulated many experiences. But the sensitivity to convert those experiences, in an instant, into answers, had not yet fully matured. Meanwhile, in your younger years, even when your sensitivity was sharp, the experience to support it was still insufficient. The 40s are the age in which, for the first time in life, sufficient experience and matured sensitivity arrive together. The moment these two are aligned, the most precise compass, called intuition, is completed within you. In this video, I will gently unfold from a quantum perspective why intuition begins to strike true so sharply from the 40s, what the soul characteristics are of those whose intuition has begun to work, and the concrete way to cultivate that intuition even more sharply. If, right now, you feel that something inside you is beginning to change, please stay with me until the very end. By the time today's talk is finished, you will clearly know the true identity of the most trustworthy ability that has been sleeping inside you. Chapter 1. Why intuition begins to strike true so sharply from the 40s. The physics of the soul, where experience and sensitivity intersect. First, let me share the most important truth. The phenomenon of intuition becoming accurate from the 40s has a clear structure as a physical law of the universe. It is the phenomenon of experience and sensitivity intersecting. Let me explain. When a human being makes any judgment, originally, two different circuits are at work. One is the circuit of logic. The other is the circuit of intuition. The circuit of logic processes information one piece at a time, in sequence. This is accurate, but it takes a very long time. Meanwhile, the circuit of intuition processes an enormous amount of information in a single instant, all at once. This is astonishingly fast, but without a foundation to support it, it becomes merely a hasty assumption. And that very foundation is the experience you have accumulated through your life. Picture in your mind the point where two rivers meet and become one great river. One river is your experience. The other river is your sensitivity. In your younger years, these two rivers still flowed separately. The river of experience was shallow. The river of sensitivity was swift. but the two had not joined. However, as you enter your 40s, these two rivers, at last, begin to merge. The river of experience, now carrying enough water, and the river of sensitivity, now sharpened, become one great current. That merged river is the true identity of intuition that strikes true. Here, I want to convey something important. The fact that your intuition has begun to be accurate does not mean that you have obtained some special supernatural power. It means that your brain and your soul have, at last, reached the state where they can reference in a single instant the enormous data you have been accumulating all along. To put it in a simple image, it is like a well-worn compass, used for many long years. A brand new compass certainly points to the direction. But the compass of a sailor who has weathered countless storms for decades has the sailor's own experience deeply soaked into it. The moment he looks at the compass, he can read far more than what the needle alone is showing. Your intuition in your 40s is exactly this, a well-worn compass. It is a compass that carries deeply within it every person you have ever met, every event you have ever experienced, and every emotion you have ever felt. It is your own one-of-a-kind compass, found nowhere else in the world. So if your intuition has begun to strike true, take pride in it. It is, more than anything else, the proof that you have not wasted, even for a moment, the life you have been living until now. Chapter 2. 5 characteristics that always appear in people in their 40s whose intuition has begun to strike true. In those whose intuition has begun to fully activate, certain common characteristics naturally begin to emerge. Here, I will share with you these 5 characteristics, one by one. The first characteristic. Before you have even begun to think, the answer is already there. When you have to decide something, before you even try to consider it carefully, the answer is already in your heart, and later, when you verify it with logic, that very first answer is, most of the time, correct. This is the clearest sign that your circuit of intuition has begun to work faster and more accurately than your circuit of logic. The second characteristic. The first impression you get of a person becomes astonishingly accurate. The impression you suddenly feel toward a person you have just met, this person can be trusted. Or, with this person, I should keep a slight distance. Later you come to find that this first impression was, almost without exception, correct. This is the proof that your soul has become able to read, in an instant, the vibrations of the other person. The third characteristic. Without knowing why, you find yourself wanting to avoid a particular choice. You do not know why, but you feel, I should not get involved with that. You do not know why, but you feel today, I want to change that plan. A discomfort you cannot explain, yet one that is undeniably real. When you follow it, later, you come to realize that it was the best choice. This is the sign that your intuition has clearly begun to work in order to protect you from danger. The fourth characteristic. People you happen to think of suddenly contact you. A few hours or a few days after the thought. I wonder how that person is doing. Drifts through your mind. A message truly arrives from that very person. Such synchronicities begin to increase sharply. This is the proof that your soul has begun to connect with the flow of information that transcends time and space. The fifth characteristic. You become able to see through lies and insincerity in an instant. Even when someone is saying something that, on the surface, appears correct, you somehow sense the insincerity or the hidden intention lying beneath their words. This is the proof that your sensitivity is now reading directly, not the surface of the words, but the very vibration that lies beneath them. Among these 5 characteristics, how many apply to you? If even one of them applies, your compass of intuition is already, accurately, beginning to move. Chapter 3. Why the 40s? The cosmic timing when the antenna of the soul reaches completion. Here, let me clearly answer the question many people carry. Why is it that intuition becomes this sharp specifically in the 40s, and not in the 30s or 50s? There is a precise cosmic timing deeply involved in this. The human soul has been designed, from the very beginning, to move through life along a certain rhythm. And within that rhythm, the 40s is an age of extremely special meaning. Let me share 3 reasons. The first reason. The 40s are the turning point of life. If you compare life to climbing a single mountain, the 40s is just about the time when you have reached the area near the summit. From the summit, you can survey all of the road you have climbed so far. At the same time, you can also see the road down that lies ahead. This perspective, in which both directions are visible at once, is exactly the bird's-eye perspective necessary for intuition to function. In your younger years, you were desperately focused on climbing and could not see the whole road. Only in your 40s, for the first time, do you become able to survey the entire map of your life. The second reason. The 40s are the age when the storm of emotion begins, to some degree, to grow quiet. In your teens, 20s, and 30s, you are inside the violent waves of emotion. Love, competition, ambition, anxiety. Such strong emotions drown out the delicate signal called intuition. But once you enter your 40s, that storm of emotion begins, little by little, to grow quiet. And only on the surface of the heart that has grown still can the delicate ripples of intuition appear clearly. The third reason. This is the deepest reason. The 40s are the age at which the antenna of the soul, the one that handles the connection to the universe, structurally reaches completion. The antenna of the soul grows, little by little, from the moment of birth. And in the 40s, when sufficient material called life experience has been gathered and the storm of emotion has grown quiet, the structure of that antenna is at last completed. A completed antenna becomes able to receive the delicate information of the universe clearly. Intuition is the very information from the universe that this antenna has received. To put it in a simple image, it is like the moment when the mist clears and the distant mountain suddenly comes into clear view. The mountain had been there all along. Even within the mist, it certainly existed. But only when the mist clears can you see that mountain clearly. The 40s are the special timing in your life when the mist of emotion and confusion clears, and the information from the universe, until then invisible, suddenly begins to appear clearly. So if you are in your 40s and you feel that your intuition has been growing sharper, this is, more than anything else, the proof that your soul is maturing precisely on the schedule set by the universe. Chapter 4. 4 habits that people in their 40s unconsciously practice, which dull intuition. The intuition of the 40s is, by nature, something that grows sharper, naturally, in any person. But certain specific habits can, unconsciously, dull this intuition, just as it is growing sharper. Here, let me clearly point out the 4 habits. The first habit is to use logic to erase an intuition the moment it arises. The instant you feel something, you immediately deny it with logic. No, that cannot be. There is no basis for it. I am overthinking this. This is the act of, by your own hand, painting over the direction the compass has so kindly shown you. Logic is important, but it should be used not to erase intuition, but to verify it. The second habit is to keep your head constantly filled with information. Whenever you have even a moment, you open your smartphone, you read the news, you take in other people's opinions. But intuition can only rise to the surface when there is space in the heart. When the head is packed full of other people's information, the delicate signal from your own soul gets buried in that noise. The third habit is to place other people's opinions above your own intuition. Even when you think, "I feel this way," you place the opinion of experts, or what everyone else is saying, above your own. When this is repeated, your soul learns no one is going to listen anyway, and gradually stops sending the signal of intuition. Intuition speaks only to those who trust it. The fourth habit is to be so busy that you have no time to confirm your own sensations. From morning to night, you are chased by your schedule, chased by your tasks, and the day ends. You do not even have the time to look back and consider what you felt today. Intuition is strengthened in the act of looking back. Without the time to confirm what struck true and what missed, your compass can never improve in precision. So what should you do? The answer is only one. When an intuition arises, do not immediately deny it. First, simply accept the fact that you felt that way, just as it is, and create a blank space of time in your heart. Before being swept along by other people's opinions, ask once of your own soul. How do I feel? That alone is enough for your intuition to begin recovering its original sharpness. Chapter 5. 3 quiet rituals to cultivate intuition even more sharply. From here, I will share with you 3 rituals to cultivate the intuition that has begun to awaken in your 40s into something even sharper, even more accurate. These require no special abilities, no difficult training. Anyone can begin practicing them, quietly, starting today. The first ritual. In the morning, before the day begins, ask once, in your heart, what kind of day will today be? It is not about checking your schedule. It is not about predicting with logic. Just close your eyes and quietly try to feel, what kind of sense does today carry? Somehow, it feels like it will be a calm day. Somehow, it feels like I will have a deep conversation with someone. Any small sensation is fine. And in the evening, confirm whether that morning's sensation turned out to be true. If you continue this, your intuition, through the practice of answer checking, will surely improve in precision. The second ritual. When you have to decide something, before deciding with logic, compare the 2 choices by feeling them in your body. When there are 2 choices, imagine yourself in your heart, having chosen each one. And in that moment, observe how your body responds. When you imagine one, your chest feels lighter. When you imagine the other, your chest feels heavier or slightly tense. This response of the body is the most honest answer your intuition is giving. The head can lie, but the body never lies. The third ritual. At the end of the day, recall just one intuition that worked today and write it down. Something you felt fleetingly today, something that caught your attention without reason, something you somehow avoided. Choose just one from among these and write it down. And later, when you know what came of it, add a brief note. Why is this important? Because the very act of writing it down sends a message to your intuition. I trust you, and I am keeping a record of you. An intuition that is trusted and recorded will begin to speak to you, ever more actively, ever more accurately. Practice these 3 rituals without forcing yourself and continue with them. Then, with each passing month, your compass of intuition will increase in precision. And one day, you will realize this. In the important scenes of your life, you have stopped hesitating. Before you have begun to think, the most correct path is already visible before you. Chapter 6. 3 changes in life that arrive in those who have begun to trust their intuition. For those who have begun to accept intuition not as a baseless notion, but as the most trustworthy compass, 3 great changes will surely arrive in life. These are not flashy changes, but they are deep changes, the kind that transform the very flow of life from within. The first change. Decisions become astonishingly fast and accurate. People who, until now, had been spending days agonizing, hesitating, exhausting themselves over a decision, find that once they begin to trust their intuition, their decisions become astonishingly fast. And those fast decisions, when looked back upon later, are most often correct. This is because you have become able to use not only the slow circuit of logic, but also the fast and accurate circuit of intuition. The speed and accuracy of decisions will, in every scene of life, guide you into a favorable flow. The second change. The quality of human relationships transforms from the root. A person who trusts intuition becomes clearly able to distinguish between those who are truly important to them and those who are not. Then, distance naturally arises from the relationships that drain you, and only the relationships that enrich you remain in your life. This is not a cold change. Rather, it is the wisest change of all, the one that allows you to pour the limited time and energy of your life only into those who are truly important. The third change. The timing of life mysteriously begins to fit. When you begin moving according to your intuition, somehow the timing of things falls into place. At just the right time, you make just the right decision, and you stand in just the right place. This is not coincidence. Intuition is the ability to read the flow of the universe. You, who move according to that ability, naturally synchronize with the flow of the universe. A life that rides the flow opens, far faster and far more richly than a life that is forced forward by sheer will. When these 3 changes arrive, you are no longer a person who is afraid of life's choices. You have become a person who can completely trust the compass within yourself. Whatever happens, your own soul will show you the most correct direction. That unshakable sense of safety becomes the new foundation of your life. Chapter 7. Intuition is the oldest and the most accurate message your soul is sending you from a place beyond time. Finally, let me share with you what I most wish to convey. What, exactly, is intuition? I want to give a clear answer to this question from the perspective of the universe. Intuition is not merely a high-speed judgment born from the accumulation of experience. It does carry that aspect, but its essence is far deeper. Intuition is the oldest and the most accurate message your soul is sending you from a place beyond time. In the world of quantum physics, time is not believed to be a single line flowing in one direction, the way we tend to think. The past, the present, and the future, in a certain sense, all exist simultaneously. Your soul is connected to this realm beyond time, and your soul already knows what lies ahead on the road you are about to walk. Intuition is the gentle signal that the soul, which knows the future, sends to you who live in the present, saying, "This is the way." The 40s are the special time in which you become clearly able to receive that signal. Because you, in your 40s, have obtained both the receiver of sufficient experience and the clear environment of a quieted heart. This is not a supernatural power given only to special people. This is a basic function of the soul. one that every human being originally possesses. Yet most people, never noticing the existence of this function, or erasing it with logic and the opinions of others, end their lives without ever using it. But you are different. You, right now, have begun to clearly notice that function. After many long years of study and observation, I have come to know this truth with certainty. A person who lives by erasing intuition will always wander, always continue searching for other people's answers. But a person who lives by trusting intuition gains, within themselves, a guide that will never betray them. So if you, right now, feel that your intuition has been growing sharper, please protect that feeling carefully. It is a message of love, the one your soul has been sending you all along, in order to guide you onto the true road of your life. And one day, you will realize this. The choices of life that once filled you with so much hesitation no longer feel that frightening. In their place, the true version of you, trusting the compass within, walking quietly and with conviction, stands there. That is the quietest and the most certain gift from the universe, given only to those who have made the soul's ability of intuition truly their own. Closing. Thank you truly for listening to my long story all the way to this point today. Until today, how much have you doubted your own sensations? Even when you felt something, there may have been many days when you erased it, telling yourself, this is just my imagination. There is no basis for this. You may have put your own true voice on hold, thinking it was safer to follow the opinions of others. You have lived through that carefulness so well. It is not because you have been timid. Rather, it is because you have sincerely wished not to make a mistake, that you have been able to live this carefully. You have done nothing wrong. You are a person who has lived with enough sincerity. And from here on, you no longer need to keep doubting your own sensations. The intuition of you in your 40s is the most trustworthy compass, one of a kind in the world, born from the intersection of long life experience and matured sensitivity. From now on, each time you feel something, you will be able to receive it quietly, saying to yourself, "Ah, my soul is showing me the way again." The accumulation of such receivings will, with certainty, change your life. Decisions will become fast and accurate, human relationships will grow clear, and the timing of life will, mysteriously, begin to fit. Please, do not rush. If you press intuition, it will quietly withdraw again. Just with trust, listen carefully to its delicate voice. Your future will open with more clarity, more smoothness than you can imagine. This is certain. Because you, who have begun to trust the compass within yourself, are already, surely, walking out from the place where you only lost your way on the road of life. The universe is always on your side. So please, with peace in your heart, trust the direction your own soul shows you, and walk on. Final message. If today's talk resonated with your heart even a little, I would be very glad if you would press the like button on this video. It will become a small declaration to the universe that you have truly received the truth of the soul's ability called intuition. And on this channel, I will continue to deliver messages that gently align your life from the perspective of the universe, the soul, and frequency. If you feel you would like to return again, please press the subscribe button and let us deepen our learning together in the next video. Lastly, if you would like to send a signal to the universe that you have truly received today's message, I would be happy if you wrote, "I have received it," in the comment section. That single phrase will surely guide today's intuition firmly onto the side of the light. May infinite light and deep conviction rest upon your soul. I will see you again in the next video. Thank you, truly, for listening all the way to the end.